Hey there, Morgan here from Crafting a Lovely Life, and today we are making this Happy Halloween reverse canvas using our Cricut and iron-on vinyl. I can't wait to show you how easy and fun it is to make a reverse canvas. If you are new to Cricut, then this tutorial is a great introduction to using iron-on vinyl on canvas. All right, let's get started. The first thing we are going to do is remove the staples in the back of the canvas so we can remove it from the wood frame. I had good luck doing this with a flathead screwdriver and pliers. Just use the flathead screwdriver to get under the staples. Then use the pliers to pull the staples out of the wood frame. Next, we will place the frame on top of the canvas so we can trim the edges. I used a rotary cutter that I normally use for fabric and it worked really well. If you don't have one of those, you can just use scissors. Don't worry if it's not perfect, we will trim it down more after we attach it to the frame. Now we can paint the frame. For some reason, I didn't hit record on my camera while I was painting, but I just used black acrylic paint and a sponge paintbrush for this part. Once the frame is dry, place it on top of the canvas so we can measure to see how big we can make our design. I decided to make the design height 6 inches for the canvas size I'm using. Now we can get our project set up in Cricut Design Space. So let's start a new project and upload our design. The design I'm using today is available for free on my website and I will link that down below. Once it's open, we're going to resize it to fit on our canvas. Now we need to get the layers organized a bit differently before we are ready to cut. The first thing I'm going to do is ungroup the design. You will see that when I hit ungroup, it is now broken up by color. We are going to attach each color group together, so just select the first group in the layers panel and click attach. Then do the same for the remaining colors. Now we can click Make It and start arranging our mats to cut. You can see each color is showing on its own mat. You could absolutely cut the design this way if you wanted to. You would just cut each color one at a time. What I like to do to save time is actually load up all of the design onto one mat so that I can cut all of the colors at once. To do that, you will go to the mat you want to move, click on the design, and click the 3 little dots on the top left corner. Then you will select Move Object and pick the mat you want to move it to. Once it's on the new mat, move it over so that none of the cuts will overlap. Make sure you keep track of what colors go where, so when we put the vinyl on the mat later, we can get the colors in the right spot. Now we can move over the remaining colors except for the purple mat. I'm going to use glitter iron-on for the purple part of the design, so that will have to be on a separate mat since it requires us to select a different material type. Once the mats are ready, make sure you select mirror on both of the mats. Anytime you use heat transfer vinyl, you need to mirror the design. Now that we have the rest of the colors moved over and we have mirrored our design, we are ready to place the vinyl on our actual standard grip cutting mat. Use the measurements on the mat in Cricut Design Space to determine what size you need to cut each color of HTV down to. Next, we can place the heat transfer vinyl on the standard grip mat. We are going to place the HTV on the mat with the shiny side down. I like to use a brayer tool before I cut to make sure the material is really stuck down well. Once the mat is loaded up, we can click Continue in Design Space so that we can select our material type. If you are using Cricut brand heat transfer vinyl, then be sure to select the specific kind as your material type. I am using a non-Cricut brand HTV, so I am going to set my material to heat transfer vinyl non-Cricut. If you are using an Explore machine, you will want to turn the dial to iron-on. Once you select your material, the arrow button on your machine should start blinking, meaning you are ready to load your mat. Once the mat is loaded, you can start cutting. When the machine is done cutting, the arrow button will start blinking again and you can unload and take the HTV off of the mat. Now we need to place the glitter iron-on on the standard grip mat. Design Space should have the mat pulled up, but you will need to change the material type to glitter iron-on. For an Explore machine, turn the dial to Custom and then in Design Space, select glitter iron-on. Once you select the material type, you can load the mat again and start cutting. Then unload and remove the vinyl. Before I start weeding, I like to see if there are some pieces of uncut vinyl that can be trimmed off and used for smaller projects in the future. Since we are layering vinyl, you will want to make sure you keep the entire design intact if you cut off the excess vinyl. That way we can line up the entire layer when we go to apply it to the canvas instead of having to place each design element individually. I couldn't see the cut lines well enough on the purple glitter iron-on, so I wasn't able to salvage any scraps from that piece. Now we are going to start weeding the design. I am using a Cricut weeding tool for this part, and I highly recommend you do as well. First, we will peel off the bulk of the excess vinyl. Then we can use the weeding tool to get the smaller pieces in the letters and the rest of the design. Make sure you look over your design a few times to double check that there aren't any little pieces you missed when weeding. For this project, I'm using my Cricut Easy Press Mini. It works really well on textured surfaces like canvas. If you don't have the Mini, you can use a larger heat press. Just refer to Cricut's heat press guide for instructions on the heat press you have. I will link that guide below. Turn on the heat press Mini and set it to the medium temperature option. Now we are ready to line up our design on the canvas. To do this, I'm going to first place down the orange layer of vinyl, and then I'm going to use the black layer to make sure that the entire design will fit. I'm using a ruler to make sure my design is centered on the canvas as well. Now we can heat the orange layer. Move the Easy Press Mini continuously around the design for about 10 seconds. Just enough time to get the plastic backing sheet off so we can place the next layer. The type of HTV I am using is a warm peel, meaning you have to peel the plastic sheet away from the design while it is warm. The type of vinyl you purchase will specify if it is warm peel or cool peel heat transfer vinyl. Once you start to peel the plastic sheet away, if you notice any parts of the design not adhering, just place the plastic sheet back down and go over that spot again until it sticks. Keep the plastic sheet handy because you will need it again for the next layer. Now we can place the black layer on the design. Line up the eyes, nose, and mouth on the pumpkin to help you get the layer in the right place. Then place the plastic sheet from the orange layer back on top of the design. You never want to apply heat to iron-on vinyl without some sort of protective sheet on it. Now you can heat the black layer for about 10 seconds with continuous movement. Peel off both plastic backing sheets so we can place the green layer next. To line up the green layer, use the buckle on the hat, the potion in the cauldron, and the pumpkin stem to get it placed in the right spot. I had a hard time getting the pumpkin stem lined up just right when the other pieces were where they needed to be, so I cut that part away from the rest of the design and placed it separately. Once everything is lined up for the green layer, place the plastic backing sheet from the orange and black layer back on top of the design. Now you can heat the green layer for about 10 seconds with continuous movement. Peel up the plastic sheets so we can place the purple glitter iron-on down next. For this layer, the only overlapping design element is the band on the hat, so use that as a reference to get the purple placed in the right spot. Now put the plastic backing sheets from all of the layers back down and heat the glitter iron-on for about 25 seconds with continuous movement. If any of the design elements lift up when you peel up the plastic sheet, just place it back down and heat it until it sticks. I am so excited about how this design looks. My kids are going to love it. All right, our last step is to get the canvas attached to the wood frame. You can do this a few ways. I decided to use some thumbtacks because I wanted to be able to remove them if for some reason I didn't get the design lined up quite right. You can also use hot glue to attach the frame or even staple the canvas back onto the frame with a staple gun. If you want to hang the sign, you can also attach a picture hanger to the back of it. Once the canvas is attached, use scissors or the rotary cutter again to trim off the excess canvas. And there you have it. I absolutely love how this reverse canvas turned out and cannot wait to make more in the future. I'm so excited to add this sign to my Halloween decorations this year, and I hope you get a chance to make one too. Be sure to subscribe below so you can follow along each week as I share new crafty projects. Don't forget to grab this free design and the written tutorial for this reverse canvas on my website listed below. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!